Hello, I'm Jean Pete, and I welcome you back to our show, Better Living. Better Living is brought to you by the Homestead Hope Foundation and is sponsored by Homestead Hospice, where commitment to education and premier hospice care helps patients and families through life's most important journey. Thank you for joining me again today. I'm Jean Pete, and today I'm here with Mindy Strich, who is a private holistic healing practitioner. And I'm just reading her intro for me so that I can get prepared for these shows, and I'm going to read it to you. And she talks about how changes in our health and life circumstances can affect us in ways we don't understand. Pain, illness, and disease can often be the result of an imbalance of energy, as well as divorce, depression, unemployment, you name it. And today we're going to talk with Mindy about what happens in your body after and how that often begins in your mind and with your emotions and your beliefs. And we're going to talk about how we can restore flow and rebalance the energy in and around your body so that we can open up the potential for healing. Did I get that right, Mindy?
You did. Good job, Jeannie.
Okay, so let's start. Thank you for being with me today.
I'm excited. Thank you.
I love bringing positivity to our audiences, and I'm excited to hear about alternative ways to help us heal when we're stricken with whatever it is we're stricken with, not just health issues. So let's talk a little bit about you. Who are you? What's your background? How did you get involved in all of this?
Isn't that our favorite thing to talk about ourselves?
Well, that's true.
Well, you know, I did not grow up deciding that I wanted to be an energy healer, a holistic practitioner. As a matter of fact, up until about 4 years ago, I didn't even know what that was, but I had suffered from chronic illness probably for the last 30 years that has never really been diagnosed. There was a diagnosis given to me, but it never really landed that it was causing my symptoms. And so at some point I decided that it was emotional. I just had this inner knowing that it was emotional. So I started to look for different answers and found this teacher who has a program in a school here in Atlanta, the White Winds Institute. And I took a leap of faith and decided to find out what energy healing was. And at the same time, and there's no coincidences, I was going through a very unexpected, painful divorce. And through going to school, winding up in the hospital with physical symptoms, going through divorce, all of those things combined together transformed my life. What I learned at school taught me that everything that I was going through emotionally and physically was because of a pattern and imbalances of energy that were within me and are within all of us for our entire lives. At the core, pain and illness is an imbalance of energy that does not belong in our bodies.
That's a pretty powerful statement. And what I hear when you say that is we have the power to keep ourselves healthy.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
okay.
we have the power to, well, we know that we're physical beings, right? So we know that smoking's not good for us.
Right. There are outside influences.
Right, that eating well and exercising, we kind of got it down as far as what physically we need to do to take care of our bodies. And that's a great start. But it's not enough because we are more than physical. If you look at yourself under a microscope, you're going to look very different than if you look in a mirror, right? And under the microscope, we are billions and billions of cells, of atoms, and atoms are made up of energy. And we have an energetic body, we have an emotional body, we have a mental body, we have a spiritual body. So wholeness and wellness is about taking care of all of those things. Our thoughts and our beliefs about ourselves affect our health every bit as much as the food that we eat. So you don't want to eat a Big Mac because we know that that's not good for our health, even though sometimes we do. And the thoughts that we think about ourselves have that same impact. Human beings, believe it or not, have over 60,000 thoughts a day. Most of those thoughts are negative, and most of them are repetitive. Well, imagine what that does to your body, because each thought creates a chemical, and those thoughts and those chemicals live in our bodies and affect our cells. Imagine having the same thought over and over
That's right.
repetitively, multiply that by the number of years you've been on earth, well, there's going to be something that's showing up. So things like, when people say, oh my God, I don't know how I got cancer. I eat right, I exercise, I don't know where this came from. There are things that are happening in our body. Most of it is unconscious. Nothing just happens today. My divorce didn't just happen. I say yes, it was unexpected because it shocked me. But really, when I take a step back and look at all the signs that I just was not consciously aware of and paying attention to, it was growing inside of us. And Oprah Winfrey once said this, and I love it. She said, life is always trying to get our attention. Sometimes it starts out like a little pebble will hit you at the side and you go, what's that? What was that? And you just ignore it because it's just nothing. And then something happens in your life, but that pebble becomes a rock. And that's there's a little bit more awareness to it, but you still ignore it. And we keep ignoring things until the boulders fall down on top of you and knock you out. So it doesn't have to be that way if we pay attention to the signs, if we start listening to our intuition and we start listening to our body. Our bodies are always trying to tell us. Our bodies are the expression of how we walk through life. We're more in sync with our iPhones than we are with our own intuition. We don't listen to our body's signal. And you know what that becomes? It becomes pain. This is not mine either. I don't remember where I heard it, but I love this acronym, PAIN. Pay attention inward now.
Mm-hmm.
I
love that.
Thank you.
I could just listen to you. You could just have the show. But I want to just rewind for a minute because my background, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was working in hospice in Boston and in Rhode Island. Mm. And I connected with a nurse practitioner. Her name is Kathy Scott. And she had a company called PRN, Pain Resource Network. Mm-hmm. And I took her all over the state of Rhode Island to teach people about pain. And as you're talking today, I'm hearing her and her speeches. And I am not a nurse, I am not a physician, but I'm going to tell you what I learned through her. And we did a lot of teaching on pain management. And she would, I want you to visualize this, she would talk about pain. And especially I want to get back to the fact that you had chronic pain, because she was talking about people are calling folks in pain addicts a lot more than they really are addicts. They're just trying to get pain relief. And she would start at the top of her thighs in her back and run her finger up her back. And she says, the molecules in your body travel the pain pathway, the pathophysiology of your body for pain. They travel up your back through your spine into the back of your head. If you put your finger on the back of your head, you'll feel a bump. And right under there, she called it the dorsal fin. Mm-hmm. She said that's where emotions are. Mm-hmm. And that's why pain can cause depression. And that's why depression is associated with pain. Mm-hmm. It can't go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And for the purposes of her speech, she was talking about how we have to get the pain under control for people who suffer from chronic pain so that we can help them with the depression as well. But it's hand in hand. You cannot separate it. It goes the same path in your body. If you're in pain, you're going to be depressed. If you're depressed, it's going to come out in some way, shape, or form through your body in some type of pain or a rash. You'll hear people, they'll break out, and it's stress. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get back to, you have a chronic illness?
Yes, if I could just say what you're saying makes total sense to me. To me, depression is where we are separated from a deeper part of ourselves. The point of the amygdala is the part of the brain where our emotions are stored. And I work energetically with clients, and just by working energetically around that area of the body can shift some of their feelings of depression without even touching them. And so pain is our body's way of trying to communicate to us that there's something wrong. If you think about children, babies, before we learned how to talk, that's how we communicated. And our body is trying through that pain, through our physiology, to tell us there's something else off in our lives. And so, yes, I did have a chronic illness. It's some of your listeners may have it and be familiar with it. It was diagnosed as a mitral valve prolapse, which is a prolapse in the mitral valve, a leakage in that part of my heart, which causes all kinds of physical symptoms. In mine, it was pretty severe, where sometimes I would get so dizzy I could not get out of bed for weeks at a time, and my blood pressure would get extremely low. I always felt like I was going to pass out, and the worst time was in 2010 when I wound up in the hospital for a few days. And I always say the good news is everything always comes back negative, and the bad news is everything always comes back negative. But what I learned from this experience through that hospital stay, through my divorce, it was not a coincidence, because see, what was happening in my body, what I know now, that episode got so bad because I was in denial. I didn't see how bad my marriage was at that point. And my body was trying to get my attention. My body knew, because there's an amazing intelligence in our body. We just don't listen to it, as I said before. My body knew something was breaking down. And it was my relationship and all of my fears. Here's my pattern of energy: my fears of being abandoned, my fears of being alone, all of those things that we all have, some of those issues and those pains in our lives. They will eventually, as you said, they will show up, because it's all energy, and energy has to move. And if we are burying those unconscious thoughts and beliefs within us, it's going to show up. What I do is help people learn how to connect the dots and release some of that energy. And I did that in my own life. So it's been 4 years now, Jeannie, and I want to be completely honest here. I won't say that I have not had any episodes, but they've been so minor and so few and far between. And now I know what they are, so I could be present to them, and I could be compassionate towards them, and I know how to move them so they don't control me.
You believe you have the power. You're being told by your body something's out of sync, so you stop and you think, and you get introspective, and you make changes now. Whereas before you just kept moving forward, right? I'm assuming.
I got afraid before, and I would run to doctors. Oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Oh my God, what's happening to me? I got nervous. Now what I've learned is whenever, something I would recommend to your listeners is when you feel an emotion or you feel a physical pain, treat that as if it was a child. If you have a child or a grandchild, when they want your attention, when they're in pain, what do? We don't ignore them. We take care of them. We become very present and say, what's wrong? We love them. We're compassionate.
We stop what we're doing. We don't judge it. And assess and evaluate and figure out the right thing to do. That's true.
From a place of love and compassion, not our mind that has a belief or a judgment that it's bad or it's good. Because every single part of us, our judgment, our anger, our fear, they're all there for us to learn something from. But we have to stop pushing away and resisting the things that we don't like. Because it's sort of like pushing away that child and saying, not now, Jeannie. What did we feel as children when our parents said, go away, I'm too busy right now? We felt not heard and not listened to. And even if it was not done intentionally, because we're all busy, we still, as kids, felt unloved. And that's what we do to ourselves. That's what we do to our body.
10 times over, especially women.
Yeah.
But all people, but especially women.
I agree.
Wow. Okay. Well, as you're talking, it's just making perfect sense to me. Every single atom in our body is energy. And, you know, when I've talked to psychiatrists on this show before, and they encourage people to talk about their trauma because it makes them feel better. Well, what are you doing when you're talking? You're releasing molecules from your body.
Yes, ma'am.
And we encourage people to exercise. And I've interviewed folks who are in health and fitness, and they say, you got to get the body moving. You got to get the blood flowing. You got to get the oxygen moving. You got to get your body molecules moving, and they're being released through sweat. And so you're releasing all of that. And that's why exercise is so good for you. Mm-hmm. So talking things through, moving your body, these are all reasons chemically, physically, that this makes you feel better.
Absolutely. The challenge that I think most of us have are releasing our emotions, because we've been taught to not talk about our emotions. If you think about when we're children, when I was misbehaving, I was sent to my room. Go to your room. If you're not good in school, you get sent to the principal. You know, what do we teach little boys? You know, it's a sign of weakness to express your emotion. And that's so bad, because emotions are energy in motion. And they're there to be expressed. So the best thing we could do is learn how to express our fears, express our anger in a healthy way, express what is deep inside of us that wants to come out. Because if we don't release it, it will come out as pain and illness and disease, cancer, diabetes, back pain, divorce, unemployment, depression.
I wonder if that's why, as a whole, women tend to live longer, because women also tend to express their emotions better. That might be some kind of a study to look into. Anyway, my curiosity is getting to me.
I like that idea. That's a really good point. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because I do also agree, and I'm just Jeannie P. I don't have expertise behind me, but this is near and dear to my heart. I live this. I believe this. And I agree that you've got to let it out somehow, or it's going to come out on its own. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I went through a divorce as well, and I have a teenage son, and the divorce has physical effects on him. And now we're 5 years later, and I'm working on helping to talk about the emotions and exercise so that we can make him a healthier, happier individual as a whole. Mm-hmm. And that's what was happening. He was pulling all the pain in instead of letting all the pain out. So there's so many ways in which all of the things that you're here to talk about today are going to help people physically, emotionally, spiritually, relationship-wise, socially, just loving life. The show's called Better Living, helping people live better. So it's wonderful. Thank you again for being here today.
You're
welcome. Let's
welcome.
talk about some of the things that you do to help spread this word.
Well, I've become with this, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
You know, I can't, it's so amazing to see how my life has changed in the last 4 years. I mean, I went to school to heal myself. And now here I am talking about energy healing.
What is
I
the
do
school?
Seminars.
What is your background? Let's talk about what is your schooling?
There's an institute here in Atlanta called the White Winds Institute.
Okay.
And I've learned and become certified as an integrative energetic medicine practitioner.
Okay.
I've also decided to, I'm just completing my certification as a IFC, International Federation of Coaching Life Coach. I'm in the process of getting certified through Healing Touch, and Healing Touch is probably, most people may have heard of Reiki, which is, and I'm also Reiki certified. So there's all different types of healing modalities. Healing Touch is the one that right now has been the most conventional, mainstream of the healing modalities, because it's been accredited by the American Holistic Nursing Association, and it is rapidly spreading in hospitals throughout Atlanta, where patients are asking for healing therapies, because there's all kinds of research that are proving that pre and post surgery, chemotherapy treatments, heart patients are getting recovering faster from illness when they have healing modalities. So I dream of the day, Jeannie, that I get to work in a hospital one day. My doctor, and I'm going to mention her, Dr. Suzanne Turner. I love this woman for so many reasons. One is because she has invited me to come to her office and do healing clinics for her patients, to educate people on the real medicine and the real benefits of what I do. It's not this woo-woo, new age modality. It is actually one of the oldest modalities of healing in the world. Before there was conventional physicians, medicine men, and Eastern philosophies, Chinese medicine, healing using energy medicine was the doctors, the conventional doctors.
And I think in the West here, it's taken us the longest time to go back to the oldest way that we were helping folks. But I do think it's opening up now in the United States. Mm-hmm. Do you have a website or something that people can go to and find out more about what it is that you do?
Absolutely. The easiest way for them to find me is my name is Mindy, Mindy, Strich, Strich, and they could just go to www.mindystrich.com.
Okay, great. And I say that because we have to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk more about all of the ways that through your experience and going back to school and expertise and what you've seen since you've been practicing, all of the different techniques that can help people heal. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, I'm Jean Pete, and I welcome you back to our show, Better Living. Better Living is brought to you by the Homestead Hope Foundation and is sponsored by Homestead Hospice, where commitment to education and premier hospice care helps patients and families through life's most important journey. Thanks for staying with me. I'm Jean Pete, and I'm still here with Mindy Strich, who, just to remind you, is a private holistic healing practitioner. And in the first half hour, we talked a lot about the body, the energy in the molecules in our body, how pain is directly related to our emotions and depression is directly related to pain, and how we have the power to heal ourselves and prevent that pain. And we just started talking about some techniques that Mindy gives in her daily life to help people heal and manage their bodies better, I guess is a way to say it, Mindy. So we're going to delve more into that, and we're going to talk a little bit about how you might be able to get involved with Mindy in the future here throughout the greater Atlanta area. So Mindy, let's just rewind for 1 minute and give a brief synopsis of how the body heals and how we have an empowerment in helping our body heal.
Just in a minute.
Well, not in a minute, but just to start it so that we can talk about the different techniques that you can use for healing.
Well, I guess I would say, Jeannie, that our body has an innate wisdom, and we just have to learn how to listen to its messages. You know, as we were all developing within our mom's womb, right, and we were just a couple of cells, all of the cells that make up our body are made up of the same stuff. But there's an innate intelligence. Our hearts know to become a heart. Our arms know to become arms. And it's an amazing miracle.
It is a miracle.
And we start to walk through our human life and we kind of forget about our bodies. We just ignore them. And they're constantly trying to support us. The only time we pay attention to our bodies really is when something is going wrong. So if we start to learn how to really pay attention and communicate with this beautiful miracle vessel that we have, that's where all the healing begins. And one of the techniques that I teach my clients, which is so simple and so profound, is when we are worried or concerned or stressed. You were just mentioning that you have a lot of things
My
going
life's
on
been
in your life.
crazy the last couple
Crazy, right. Stop. Take a time out. You know, we give kids time outs for the wrong reason. We should give them a time out just to give them a break, catch their breath. Take a time out and put your hand on your heart. The electromagnetic fields of our hearts are 60 times more powerful than that of our brain.
I'm going to put my hand on my heart.
What happens when you do?
Well, I don't know if it was the hand or the breath, but you can't really put your hand on your heart without taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
It kind of goes hand in hand. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's not just me that does that. Huh?
No, and it gets you out of your head.
That's
your
right.
your thoughts
that's
go,
amazing.
it's like you drop from your head, which is where all the stress and the tension and the worry and the mind chatter come, and it drops you into your heart. Our hearts are our center. If you think of a child again, if you say to a little 2-year-old, Sally, point to yourself. Where do they point?
They do.
To their hearts,
They do.
right? We still do that. We don't point to our heads. So just go to your heart. Go to your heart, because this is where all the wisdom, this is where all the truth is. We just live. Sonia Choquette, who some of you may not know who that is, she's a spiritual teacher. She says we live in a society that is mentally obese and spiritually anorexic.
That's true.
We got to
That's
get out of
true.
our heads and into our hearts.
That's true. And you know, I talk about this on a lot of the shows, but I went through a difficult time in my life too, and the way I got myself through that was to focus within. Mm-hmm. And I said, everything else is out of control. I can't control it. I have to let it go, because otherwise I'm going to drive myself absolutely insane. So what can I control? I can control what I put in my mouth. I can control what comes out of my mouth. I can control how I feel every day. So I wasn't the healthiest person at that time. I started walking. I couldn't jog. I couldn't run. I wasn't in that good of shape. I just started walking, and I started slow. And I started with 1 mile a day. And then I got up to 2 miles a day. And then I started to go faster. And then I would test myself. I would give myself enough time every day and see how quickly I could do it. And then I started running. And then I started really focusing on the food I was putting in and the energy that I was having. And Mindy, I could have conquered the world. Mm-hmm. There wasn't anything that could have got me, because I conquered something within myself that nobody else could have done for me. No outside influences could affect me losing 70 pounds. And so once you do that, once you go through your divorce and all of those life changes that happen to you in 1 second, in 1 year, and once you go within and you find the power in yourself to control your own being, nothing else can stop you. I want people to feel that.
Absolutely, Jeannie. You said a lot of really wonderful things right there. You know, the things that sustain us in our lives, our heart beating, our lungs breathing, the process of digestion, we don't give those things a second thought. We let them go, right? Mm-hmm. We fill our minds with so many things that really don't matter. We need to learn how to let go. Because if we have all of these worries that we're creating, filling up our lives, that energy is going to drain us. So think about the things that are really, really important. We don't give them a second thought. Let them go, and that leaves space for other things to come in. And from that place, the wisdom that comes from within us, nobody has the answers. We go to doctors and we put all of our faith and control in them to tell us what's wrong with us, and we don't listen to our own inner knowing of what we know deeper. And it's not that, you know, I love doctors, don't get me wrong. I think part of what I do is a complement, not an alternative. Right. I want to work hand in hand with physicians to help people understand that they have the answers. Mm-hmm. When people come to me and say, heal me, how do I fix this problem that I have? it's not a matter of me healing anybody. It's a matter of me helping become present and facilitating their own knowing so they could heal what's happening within themselves. And that's wisdom. And once you get that, right, once you conquered that, you don't have to think about it again, right? It just becomes part of you.
So let's talk about your techniques for healing, because we haven't talked enough about that. Mm-hmm. What you do to help people understand what they can do mm-hmm. to heal themselves. Mm-hmm. We talked a little bit about touch. We touched upon Reiki. Mm-hmm. But let's get deeper into what it is that you teach.
Well, there's a field of energy that surrounds our body. It's called, some know it as the human energy field, some know it as the human biofield. It's part of who we are. Your physical body is only part of who you are. If you think about yourself right now, you're surrounded in a circle of energy that extends about 3 to 4 feet from your body. And that, now, you were talking before about, the Western is catching up to the old ancient wisdoms. Here in the United States, we need proof. We live in a very scientific world, and that's great because now we are merging those. So there is medical technology and equipment now that can detect this field of energy that's around. So it's a real deal. The human energy field is real.
And we did a show before on mammograms to detect breast cancer, and now there's a new it's like an energy. I don't think it's called ultrasound, but it's mm-hmm. all about heat energy, so that you can see in your body where that energy is. It's a lot cheaper than a mammogram, and they can detect the breast cancer because you can see through the heat going on in your tissue. It's amazing. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there, merging the two worlds together. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it factually, I've done a show on this before, and it excited me as well.
It excites me terribly in a wonderful way because it's bringing credibility to what I do. And so part of my training is that I've learned how to sense where the imbalances are in the field. So when there are imbalances in your field, it's all connected because it's all energy. Those imbalances are eventually going to show up in our physical body. And because of that innate intelligence that I was referring to within our body before, all of our experiences, all of our thoughts, all of our emotions, all of the events of our lives, just like the internet, just like a computer, they're stored in the cells of our body. So by working with and sensing and seeing where these imbalances are, I am able to help clients start to tune into their own bodies.
So you're educating.
I'm educating
for awareness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, for them to look deeper into themselves, for them to not, for instance, with divorce, it's very easy to blame somebody else, what they did to me. I'm not going to be able to make it on my own. I don't have the money. We always think about what we're not, what we can't, what we don't have. And all of those things create energy imbalances, because they're a denser energy. Some thoughts, I'm not pretty enough, I'm getting older and I'm sick.
I'm not capable.
I'm not, I can't, I won't. That's an energy. And that's a denser, lower vibrational energy than joy or happiness or positivity. One's not worse than the other, but all of those things are held within our bodies and held within our field. So start feeling. What does it feel like when you feel joy? Or when you walk out on a beautiful day like today and the sun is shining? What do you feel like versus what do you feel like when it's been raining for 7 days and you're depressed or you're worried? All of that energy is landing in your body somehow, and eventually it's going to show up in your life. So I teach people about these things to become more aware of it, but also I am able to remove and restore the energy because I can feel it and I can sense it in somebody's field and in their body. And by becoming present to where those imbalances are, I can restore the flow of energy so people will feel better.
So how do you do that?
Oh, I don't know how to explain this on the
I don't
radio.
even know if you can, because I'm watching you and I'm
yeah.
trying to visualize what you're doing with your hands. So are you touching bodies?
Sometimes there's gentle touch. I do an assessment of a client's energy field. I run my hands over their body, and I will be able to sense it in my hand. Sometimes there's heat, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it feels like there's a dip in the field. Sometimes it's my clients that tell me immediately by where they touch their body. Sometimes I could see energy around the body.
Wow.
It's a combination of different things. As I'm looking at you right now.
And I have been in a whirlwind.
Yeah, well, you're leaning a little bit to the right, and I feel what I'm kind of sensing is that, you need a break.
I do.
Yeah, you need a break. Maybe after the show is over, if you have a couple of minutes, I'll do a little bit.
And then I'll talk about what she did on the show.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of being present to what the energy is telling me and communicating and asking questions of my client just to see where I'm off, and asking for feedback. What are you feeling while I'm doing this? What are you sensing?
So how does it work? Do you have clients that call you privately and you go see them once a week, or do you see them when a crisis occurs and they're in the hospital, but then maybe do you follow them home, trying to get a better understanding? For our listeners, there might be people at home who say, I want to call Mindy, and maybe she could help me.
I can do sessions over the phone. Most of my clients come to me. A lot of them are looking for complementary solutions to a health problem. Either they are very holistic minded and they already get that we have to look at our health from a place of not just physical health, but massage, acupuncture, energy healing. People understand that wellness is more than just going to the doctor when I don't feel good. Or maybe they've gone to the doctor like I had for 30 years and not getting relief. So I have different types of clients. One who already recognize that to take care of my health, I've got to do more than just go for a physical once a year. I've got to do this on an ongoing basis, and healing is part of that. People that are just struggling like I was, again, with divorce, they're stuck in their life. They know something is off, but they don't know what it is. And they just don't have the answer, but they get that there's something there. So I have clients that come to me weekly. I have clients that come to me monthly, kind of like, people that do massages. Some people go regularly.
They'll come to you.
They'll come to me.
And where are you located?
I'm located, my office is in Roswell, Georgia. And it's on my website as well, which is mindystrich.com. That's STRICH.com. But I also can do, because I am a certified life coach as well.
I see how that all ties in.
Yeah. I also have clients that, call me over the phone, and we do sessions over the phone because, as you mentioned before, Jeannie, talking is moving energy.
Well, I was just going to bring that back because you were talking about how feelings and emotions and pain can affect the energy, and I'm visualizing someone who's depressed, and a lot of times they have very low energy, and you see people, they don't get out, we see this in teenagers. I worried about this with my son a couple of years ago. They're just in that room playing video games, and that's a typical teenage thing to do, but there is a point where that becomes too much. And then there's lack of energy, and they know something's wrong, but they don't quite know where it is. And you could be talking about an older adult, a middle-aged adult, a teenager, whoever, and how that depression sucks the energy right out of you. And so even just talking and making yourself more aware gets those molecules moving, because it's all tied in together. And then you can, so in a way, you're motivating people by just ever so slightly changing that energy just with that first conversation. Am I on the right path here? I can visualize how that can help someone. It's not going to happen overnight, but whether it's an illness or a depression or an anxiety, how you can kind of jumpstart the energy in your body so that you can then begin the path to healing.
Yeah, I'll say two things. Yes, by asking the right question, by opening up the door, by being supportive. I always say, if I'm going to write a book, I'm going to say, I'm going to call it, if I have spinach in my teeth, please show me. Because we cannot see our own stuff.
That's true.
So having somebody there to listen and see more deeply, the right question, the right person just opens up the door. So there's that. But there's also this. I don't have to say a word. I've worked with patients in ICUs because the body, as I said before, has all that information and all that energy. I am able to feel where there are depletions and restore balance. So I have clients they're not ready to talk. I have clients who have gone through some real traumas and they don't know what those traumas are. They're not ready to talk. And I could do a session in complete silence and they will leave my office going, I don't know what you did, but I feel so much lighter and so much better. I think I feel hope. I think I feel joy.
I wish I could put it in a visualization for the folks that are listening on the radio. But
yeah, I'm trying to do...
It logically makes sense if I think about energy and molecules and atoms, but visually I wish that I could do a better job of helping people understand. So we're in Atlanta. Do you have any upcoming events, or is there any way people can get a better understanding locally? Or
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I'm so excited about that. Reverend Richard Burdick of Unity North, which is on Sandy Plain Road, I'm so excited. He asked me to start facilitating healing circles at Unity North. They're going to be the second Sunday of every month, starting on August 9th at 7 p.m. It's just a love donation. So that would be a wonderful, wonderful way for people to come out.
And what time?
At 7 o'clock
p.m.
And get a visual as to what some type of healing is done. It's a little bit different than what I do in my office. And
that's going to be every other Sunday for a month?
No, it's going to be the second Sunday.
I'm so sorry. Second Sunday of every month for
starting
months.
Ongoing, starting August 9th. We just finalized everything yesterday, so this is perfect timing. I'm so excited about that because it's going to be an opportunity to bring healing into the community and invite everybody to come down and experience it. And I will have other events coming up, and people could look at my website under the events page. I do seminars and talks all the time to educate people on what healing is all about.
Okay, and again, that's Mindy Strich, and you can find her at www.mindystrich.com. Is there a phone number we can give out if they want to get in touch with you?
Sure, absolutely. It's 678-642-7771. And I do offer complimentary phone consultations. So if anybody feels interested in what we're talking about today and want a little bit more information, you can call me.
And remember, Mindy's right here in Roswell, Georgia, so she's local. And that is Unity Church in Sandy Springs?
Unity North.
Unity North.
I think it's Marietta, but it's unitynorth.org.
So you can log on to their website or hers to get information on the events.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we always run out of time, Mindy, but is there parting thoughts that you want to leave our audiences with?
Gee, there's so much. I want to go back to, if there's one bit of advice that I can give you all, is that you do have the answers within you, and just put your hand on your heart and listen to your body without judgment. Just listen. Your imagination is so much more wise than your intellect. And there's a lot of deep, deep healing within ourselves. And part of where we separate is by thinking that we don't have the answers. And we do. We do. You do. Every single one of you. I wish you well. I wish you healing. And if there's anything that I can do to help facilitate that, I would love to talk to you. It's been a real pleasure talking with you today, Jeannie, and I'm just really excited about the opportunity. Thank you.
Again, for those of you that are here in Atlanta, you can contact Mindy at 678-642-7771. And thank you so much for being here. I think very, very important show. I say it all the time. I'm so blessed to bring people, experts that can help them live better, hence the name of our show, Better Living. You are empowered, and no matter where you're at in your journey right now of health or of how you're feeling, you can make yourself feel better. And so seek the help of people. Talk to folks about how you're feeling, even just getting the words out and talking. I wish you nothing but positive energy for this coming week. Thank you again, Mindy.
Thank you.
I'm Jeannie Pete. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day and week ahead. And listen here, same time next week and every week. Homestead Hope Foundation is your resource for a healthy life. God bless.